Hey guys, it's Terrence with the Black Republican Theory. So on today's show, I actually want to talk about something I warned about last week, which was that Putin is going to start his revenge, and you already see it happening in places throughout Europe as the energy prices have started to spike, and as one of my friends have posted, that places like Poland and Germany are hoarding their trash in order to heat their homes. But before we get into that, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the Black Republican Theory. So as just mentioned, we have price gouging that's going on by big international companies. That's pushing the price of nearly everything up. But companies would not be able to use use and participate in the price gouging if it had not also been for the fact that there's big inflation numbers coming out of the United States, primarily through or because of the terrible domestic policies, financial policies of Joe Biden and, let's be honest, some Republicans as well. Now, with that being said, we have that happening here in the United States. Abroad, in countries and mostly Europe, we have a lot of these countries, particularly members of NATO and the EU, who are also boosting up their financial and military spending and to combat Russian aggression in Ukraine. So yes, that is a problem. Why? Because as you put more money into this military spending, particularly in the Ukrainian theater, to fight a proxy war or a proxy between two major powers in the Ukrainian theater, really, you're going to be contributing more to inflation, but you're also combating or fighting this war in a military theater or a military, place that is a major wheat producer. Ukraine produces a great amount of wheat for the international economy and the international food supply. And so if we are destroying and hindering growth in Ukraine and the food supply there, we're also going to send the prices of food up internationally because wheat goes into many things. I mean, cereal, bread, everything, pancakes, whatever you need, flour, everything. It goes into that. But also, on the other hand, fighting this proxy war is Russia. And Russia is not only a member of OPEC, where they sent one of their foreign ministers and oil ministers over there, but they're also to the OPEC meeting, but they're also, Russia that is a major energy supplier. They produce about 10% of the global energy supply. That's a big effing deal, given that oil and energy power everything in this economy, in this international economy. I mean, yeah, we can say, oh, we're going to rely on solar or this or that. But at the end of the day, the sun is going to not shine at one point and the wind's going to not blow at some points. And then you're actually going to have to rely on other sources of energy to actually charge some of these electrical cars and all this other stuff, right? And so what I'm trying to get at is that we're seeing this a new threat of nuclear Armageddon, as Biden warned in this past over the weekend at a Democratic fundraiser. So that's enough on the international front. I actually want to bring it more down to local politics. You had over in LA, Knock LA, KNOCK LA, which is a blog and local news outlet over in LA. You guys know that I'm a big supporter of local news since I founded my own BeMoreWeekly.com. And even before that, particularly the Black local news theater here, news scene here in Baltimore, is just A1. I'm talking about from Afro to the Baltimore Times and even Be More News. But let's just focus for a second. Knock LA out in Los Angeles, they published a recording from Nuri Martinez, who was the city council president, who back in 2021 during the redistricting, her and some other top Latino officials were saying, hey, well, we have to guarantee these seats are 100% Latino and all this other stuff, right? And they were making disparaging comments towards the council member's black son and to some other people. What I want to say is, as a family member of a Hispanic household, as a person who is a champion of, all people, I am deeply disappointed by her comments, but I'm not surprised. I have dated various young ladies in the past, right? And one of the young ladies, her mom was Mexican, she was Mexican, and her, in particular, her family was just overly hostile towards American blacks. Just blanket hostility towards American blacks. There was no justification for it. It was no reason for it. It's not like I actually, caused some type of damage or said something wrong or out of character. Her family was just openly hostile towards American blacks. And I was like, whoa, where is all this coming from? Not only did she have a problem with the mother have a problem with me, but she also had a problem with the president of my university, of my undergraduate university, who was the first black woman in that role. And in fact, her mother did not care for me at all, did not want any type of, communication, etc., which was okay. I mean, it was just a college relationship, but it hurt at that time, or it was disappointing at that time. The father was no better, okay? I use that as an example to say that inside the Hispanic and Latino community, there's a lot of colorism and, quite frankly, racism that shows to other communities. There was an article in the LA Times that came out in early September or maybe August, that said the highest amount of racial discrimination claims in Los Angeles, in California, is actually not white against black, it's Latino against black. Black people have the highest amount of hate crimes perpetrated against them by a margin of nearly 10,000 cases versus any other group in this country. We're 45 million people strong. Of that 45 million people, 35 million of us are ADOS, so American descendants of slavery. Now, or as I say in our legal terms, we are American freedmen, which is the legal term provided or prescribed in the law. Now, with that being said, the colorism, the racism, the hate that happens, we have to also look at it from a political standpoint. Nuri Martinez and Kevin De Leon and the other guy, his last name was Cedillo, they are talking and speaking. I think his name was Gil Cedillo. They're talking and speaking from a political point of view, an ethnocentric political point of view, but a political point of view nonetheless, that if they have Latinos running the city and Latinos solely, that they will be able to achieve the political means to ends and powerhouse that they seek. And quite frankly, if we look at groups like, or thinkings and teachings such as Dr. Claude Anderson or Dr. Neely Fuller or John Henry Clark, Frances Wells, etc. And we look at what they talk about psyche and group politics and building the economic base first, followed by the political base and the justice base, and then the media and education, etc. They're playing the game. Neri Martinez and Kevin De Leon and Gil Cedillo, they're playing the game of politics the way it is supposed to be played. And quite frankly, as a person who's seen both the Republican and Democrat side of things and the Green Party side of things, I can truly and honestly say that that's how all politics is run. It's who's going to help us and who's going to help us keep food on our plate or put food on our plate, and who's going to serve as a means to the end. Now, we look at the Congressional Black Caucus. The Congressional Black Caucus, I would wish that they started speaking up and speaking out the way that the Congressional Hispanic Caucus does, the way that the Congressional Asian and Pacific Islander Caucus does, and hell, even the Congressional Native Caucus or Congressional Jewish Caucus, the way that they speak out. And the Black Caucus doesn't do that. They call themselves the conscience of the caucus, of the Congress. They ain't the conscience. People still say, forget you, kiss my hind parts. I mean, you saw what happened to the chairwoman, Joyce Beatty, earlier this year, where another congressman from Kentucky told her to kiss his A. And he issued a half-hearted apology only after being told that he had to apologize by Kevin McCarthy, because it would look bad in the election year that you're telling the black chairwoman to kiss your hind parts. Now, we go to another part. We go beyond just the social, shutting people up, such as Neri Martinez, who has now resigned. Let's talk about Kanye. Kanye. So I said in a this was a month ago at this point, I believe, or 3 weeks to a month ago, that I did a show where I was in Walmart, and I said that we have ESG scores out there, environmental social governance scores, and that under the social sphere of it, we have companies' acceptable use and their ratings, their like how they perceive themselves in terms of like who they do business with, what they participate in, etc. And when Kanye made his comments on Twitter about DEFCON 3 or whatever the hell, whatever Kanye says on a particular day, the company, JP Morgan, decided, we're going to stop banking with you over his freedom of speech. I've been warning about this, guys, for over a year, and about 5 months on YouTube, that freedom of speech is under attack in the United States. It truly is. It's one of the underrated blessings that we have been able to enjoy, and it's truly under attack. I mean, people can call me all sorts of names, whatever sorts of names, and I have been called those sorts of names by my family alone. So when people off the street say it, it don't hurt me. But when it's upon me to say, all right, I'm either going to let something affect me or not let it affect me. And what companies are doing are saying, hey, I'm going to step in and be offended in order to appease my shareholders. Wow. Is that what America is coming to? Will we have social credit scores? Last topic beyond the social credit scores is that it's now early voting in Maryland. You can start mailing in your ballots. I have my ballot right here. I have not completed it yet because solely I like waiting until the election day to drop it off, hand deliver it to drop off ballot box, and I would push other people to do that. We have all sorts of candidates on the ballot this year. We have Dan Cox, Wes Moore, Dave Lashar, Nancy Wallace, David Harding. Those are the candidates for governor. Over on the over on we actually have some questions and bond issues up, um, including school loans and affordable housing loans. I say go ahead and, I mean, some of these are actual things I would be able to support. Some are not. To some of the constitutional amendments, they're mostly for um, the state. I do see some charter amendments to the city, to which I would support most of them actually. Um, and I don't like to tell people how to vote. I can just tell you simply who I support, and I would hope that you guys would follow that, particularly on the charter and bond amendments. We need term limits here in Baltimore City. That's question K. We need more school funding. We need more affordable housing. But let's just be honest, here in Baltimore City, the politicians are not really on our side. And the only person that's going to care about us is us. Yeah. And that's all, guys. That's my thought stream for today. Thank you for tuning into the Black Republican Theory. I know this show probably seemed like a whole bunch of nothing, but really that's all I'm thinking about today, is the fact that we honestly have so much chaos going on, and it's avoidable chaos. It's people out there who are fighting for their own political groups, and they're only playing politics. There are people who have the freedom of speech to say what the hell they want, and people are choosing to be offended. And then there are people also engaging in proxy wars that we should not even be in as the United States. We're better than this. And I just hope my fellow countrymen and patriots, countrymen and women and patriots, stand up and start speaking out, start voting with your feet, start voting with your dollars, start voting in the physical and literal sense. I don't think that people should sit any election out, vote for somebody, at least even if you write a name in, vote for somebody, because it expresses that, number one, it expresses a desire to engage in the system, but it also expresses a respect for those, particularly the Americans who fought and died for our right to have this right. And again, you also have the right to not vote if you don't want to, but I say do it. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in to Black Republican Theory. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.